but let's just kind of jump in here. We are going to start with a little bit of review, and some of you might have been very ambitious and already did this. We're going to do something called the PTL, or practicing the language, from stage 1. So it's basically every chapter there's some grammar exercises that are just kind of getting you used to putting the right Latin word in the right context. So we're going to do that for stage 1 to kind of review what we went over in stage 1. And then we're going to jump into stage 2 and just go whole hog. So I did not put the right information into the Cambridge login. Hold on. I'm gonna get this right at some point, and then I will be able to log into my thing. I wish it would let me just remember that I was a, person. But we're covering a lot today, so I'm gonna kind of nix the chit chat to make sure we can kind of get to a comfortable place so we can move comfortably from here on out. Okay, here's the web book. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Never hit the right button. Okay, sharing my screen. Yes, let's see. All right, can you guys see Caecilius's lovely face?
Yes.
Hello, Caecilius. How you doing? You're dead. Awesome. Okay. So here we go. We're going to take a look at practicing the language right here. And we're going to look at number 1. If you have your own text, it should be the same. So feel free to follow along there. And I'm just going to call on one of you to tell me what would be the correct location for this person. And then I'm going to ask you to justify it. Okay? So blank est in cubiculo. Bart, who might be in cubiculo?
Service.
Servus?
Servus.
Servus. Very good. The servus.
Servus.
I like that rolled R. Very pretty. Servus, right? So what might he be doing in there?
Cleaning, straightening up.
Exactly.
Laborat.
Ooh, yeah, he might be working. Very nice. Look at you pulling out your vocabulary. Oh, nice. Okay, and then letter B. Let's give this one to Megan. Blank est in horto.
Well, that could be a couple of answers. I think either Lucia or Caecilius, since they're kind of head of household. In the text, it mentions Caecilius in the garden. So.
Mm-hmm. If you run into memes from Cambridge, all of them will have Caecilius est in horto. It is a really weird thing that I might follow multiple Latin meme pages, maybe a lot on Facebook, and there at least once a day I am confronted with Caecilius est in horto. The memes are strong. Always. I don't know why, but there you go. Okay, that was correct. Very nice. And Heather, blank est in via.
Canis.
Mm-hmm. And why might canis est in via?
Doing his job as a guard dog.
Exactly right. And it doesn't mean he's running around playing fat cheese. Arr, arr, don't come in my house. Exactly right. All right, Clay, blank est in colina.
Glumio est in culina.
Why? Cool.
Because people need lunch.
Yes, and that's your job. You are the cook, bro. Very good. Now we're going to get a little more abstract, but not really. So blank est in tablino. Coming back to Heather. Blank est in tablino.
Filius est in tablino.
I think so. And what might he be doing in tablino? Feel free to look at pictures if it helps.
I can't remember what tablino is.
I will give you a hint. It is in the middle of the house. It is not in the front. It is not in the back. It's right in the middle.
Oh, the study. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If he's in there, he might be writing notes for his father, keeping books or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe doing schoolwork. We will see later that Quintus is of the highest stage of typical Roman education. So he might be doing some sort of rhetoric exercise in there. Let me see here. Megan, blank est in atrio.
Lucia.
Lucia. Okay, very good. Why?
The wife, because she's like the secretary.
Oh man, Lucia should not be his wife. That's his daughter. It's gonna be awkward.
That's his daughter. Oh, that's right. That's right.
It could work. Lucia totally could be an atria.
Mater est in atria. Yeah.
That is more, yes, for the reason you stated. Yes. Now, Lucia absolutely could be
I
an
got
Altria.
it backwards. Is why. Yeah, Lucia is his daughter.
There you go. Yeah, let's do learn those characters. Otherwise, things gonna get real awkward real quick. So so it could be
Metella is
Lucia.
his wife, yeah.
But it could be Lucia could be in either space if she's with mom and mom is in there acting as a receptionist, or maybe mom is spinning. We will see Metella in later like diagrams with a spindle, because that was considered to be like super Roman woman, very good. You're a virtuous Roman woman if you spin in the atrium. So Lucia could be in there with mom, or she could be hanging out in the back with that. Either one. And Bart, blank est in triclinio.
Filius est in triclino.
I think that
Triclinio.
works. And what would he be doing in there?
Well, he's the son. He would be eating typically, but in this case, I think he was writing. He was.
Ooh, in triclinio?
Triclinio is the. It's the dining room. Yes.
Yeah. So he probably isn't writing there because he's laying down.
He normally writes in the tablino.
Exactly. He's writing in the tablino. Now, he might have started his day in the tablino, and then after doing a bunch of schoolwork, gone to relax in the triclinium in the back of the house. Either one would work. So you guys justified your answers, which was the point. Very nice. I don't know if my screen just scrolled. Are you guys seeing section 2 now nice and big?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. It's not showing me my screen anymore, so I just have to double check. So now we're going to kind of switch this. And we're going to take, all of those things in the white box, what are those in English grammatically?
Verbs.
They're not verbs.
Positional phrases.
They're all prepositional phrases because they have that preposition in followed by a word ending in either a long A or a long O. So we're going to just put the places, before we put the people in the places, now we're going to put the places in the people? No, that doesn't work. But you know what I mean, so we're going to keep going. All right, so Clay, let's go ahead and start with A. Clemens blank laborat.
Clemens in cubiculo laborat.
Very good, and that links up to what we saw before, but now he's not just in the bedroom. What is he doing there, Clay?
Working in the bedroom.
Very good. Let's give this one to Heather. B, Caecilius blank scribit. Ooh, this one's not the same as before.
Caecilius in tablino scribit.
And what is he doing in the study?
He's writing.
Very good. All right, Bart, canis blank latrat.
Canis. Oh, I could give two answers. I could say, as in the story, canis in colina latrat, which is where he was latrating before.
But he wasn't supposed to be there. So where should he have been doing it?
Canis in via latrat.
Via?
I'm sorry, via.
I'm going to do that every time in via. Very good. In via.
And I can make you do it every time.
Yes, you can. And now we know you could control me, or you could not do that. Okay, so, and what is he doing, despite if he is in Colina or in Via, what is he doing?
He's barking.
He's barking, very good. Let's go up to Megan, Metella blank stat.
In atrio.
In atrio, very good. And what is she doing there?
She is sitting in the atrium.
That is, you're very close. The words are very similar. Sedet would be sitting, like the word sedentary. But this time she is not sedet, she is stat.
Mm-hmm.
So what is she doing?
Oh, standing. She's
Beautiful.
standing in the atrium.
Solid, exactly right. And you know what? We kind of already did E, F, and G on the other side, so we're just going to skip through. You guys did a really good job, especially having multiple days to forget. So kudos. Very nice. And now we learn a new thing. So before we learn the new thing, I'm going to ask you, if you do not have paper, you probably want to get some paper. And I'm going to ask you to draw this. Basically, you're going to write something on this line, you're going to write something below the line, and you're going to fill in these boxes. I made mine really, really big. Yours can be small, but you're going to want to have this sketched out somewhere to fill in as we do the next exercise.
Okay.
Okay. Bart, do you need some paper?
Paper's on its way.
Oh, it's nice that you have
Don't you dare.
Don't
you do it.
You're right. I shouldn't say that.
No.
Yeah. That you have my mom to help you.
There you go.
Yeah. I was actually going to say a service dog at first, and then you said, don't you dare. And so I changed it. You really should train your service dog. Mm-hmm. It's like you have a cunnis. Okay. So I think I see Clay has gone, so we'll just hang out and wait for him to come back. Actually, while we're waiting, we can take a look at that pretty picture at the beginning of stage 2. Okay, so we're going to take a look real quick at this picture. I'm going to keep holding this up for people who want to finish sketching. But I'm going to show you this lovely image at the beginning of stage 2, the stage picture. And what room of the house is this in?
Cubículo.
Cubículo. It's definitely a bedroom. And what is different about this bedroom than a bedroom that you or I might sleep in?
Mosaic tile on the floor.
For sure. Mosaic tile on the floor. I don't have that in my house. I don't have that here. So we have mosaics on the floor, which obviously would take a long time to lay down and are very pricey. What about the walls? Someone want to tell me about the walls?
Well, we have that here.
Oh,
Murals.
shush, you're
The
not normal.
murals, yeah.
Yeah, the murals.
Yeah, we have murals, and they're not just on one wall. It's literally every wall. And those murals, what are they showing you? What are they of?
Usually stories of the gods or popular heroes.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be more often in a room where you're going to have a party. So in a dining room or something, yes, you're going to have those big murals of gods and drinking parties and all sorts of fun things. You might even have plays, like murals of plays. And in this particular one, we only have architectural murals. So we're looking at perspective. It's hard to see in the picture because they've degraded, because they are frescoes, which means they were painted on wet plaster. But I keep pointing at the screen, and that's not working. That's not how you do it online. But we're looking at a perspective painting, perspective frescoes, looking into different architectural designs, archways, and things like that. And so this room is kind of meant to bring you outside, and it does even have a window, which a lot of Roman houses didn't necessarily have. So this is a fancy room for obviously a master, not necessarily a slave. And if you notice, what are they sleeping on?
Daybed type of thing.
It is bed type of thing. The Romans, yeah, it's kind of like a daybed. The Romans would call this a couch, a sleeping couch. And as you can see, it's very narrow. It is for one person. So there you go. That's a Roman bedroom.
Do you know where this photo was taken?
I do not know which house off the top of my head. There, I do have a teacher's edition that is in another room, but I can find that out later. Oh, this is from Pompeii. Almost every picture that we see in this text comes directly from Pompeii, if it wasn't sketched. Yeah, this is this might be, Dad, the house of the Vetii that we went into. Yeah, but this is pretty typical, and the color you see on the ceiling is called Pompeian red. It was all throughout the city. It was painted on the sides of the houses. It was painted inside of the houses. It's kind of the color of that city. It's very prominent in Pompeii. So cool, nicely done. We are now going to jump into in Willa, in the house, right? And we're going to start seeing some new language. Okay, I'm specifically going to ask you to look at the names of people and things and notice how their endings change. Okay, we're not going to talk about it until we've read all of the words, but after we read all the words, I'm going to ask you, what did you see changing? How were those words changing? Okay, so let's jump in, and we're just going to read 1 through 4. And this is a little story called Amicus. So this is very similar to the word amigo. What do you think amicus means, everybody?
Friend.
Friends.
Yeah, friend, right? So let's see. Megan, can you read number 1 for me?
Caecilius est in atrio.
And then Clay, number 2.
Amicus caecilium salutat.
Very nice. That was beautifully read. And then number 3, Bart.
For some reason, I can't see the
Let me pull it up.
bottom. Thank you. Metella est in atrio.
Very good. And then Heather, number 4.
Amicus metellum salutat.
Very nice. Let's go over here to number 5. And Megan, can you read me that one?
Lucia est in atrio.
And Clay, number 6.
Amicus Luciam salutat.
Very nice. And then Bart, number 7.
Servus est in atrio.
Very good. And Heather, number 8.
Amicus servum salutat.
Very good. And then Megan, number 9.
Canis est in atrio.
And then Clay, number 10.
Amicus canum salutat.
And I'm just going to... Yeah, you're good. You're so good. You didn't bite him. Maybe he brought him a treat. So we are going to start looking at these endings. We're going to read the next couple pages after we've looked at a few of these endings. And so if we look at number 1 and 2, in both of these, we see caecilius, right? We have caecilius est in atrio, and then in number 2, amicus caecilium salutat. What has changed between how caecilius looks in number 1 and how it looks in number 2? Anyone can answer.
The S turned to an M.
So we had an us ending, and now we have an ending. Has anything else changed about this word?
The location of the word.
It's not at the beginning of the sentence anymore.
It's no longer the subject of the sentence.
Stop jumping the gun. Yes, you're right. Shh, be quiet. Yes, you got it. Exactly. It's so much, mostly the children don't know the grammar when I'm teaching it to them, but you already understand it from a more adulty perspective. And so then what is the change that we're seeing between number 3 and number 4 with metella?
The addition of the M.
We go from metella to metellum. So now let's come over here and look at
Can I make a note on the pictures?
Oh, please.
Metella is in the back, like in both of those, in the second picture of the set of those pictures. The person who was, like, now Amicus is the dominant person in the picture in the second of those 2 pictures, and then the subject, the subject of the sentence is, the dominant picture, and then the person they're talking to is in the background.
Exactly right. And it's almost that is something that Cambridge is really great about. When they draw a picture to match text, they do it in a way to make it really intuitive. So you are paying attention to what the words mean and not just, random people in a photo. So thank you for bringing that up. All right, so let's look up here. And we see Lucia and Luciam. So we're seeing that A to change. And then we have the servus, servum. It's that us to change. And now we see something a little bit different.
I-S-T-E-M.
I-S-T-E-M. Very good. So now that we're seeing that, obviously in all of these odd numbers, in number 1, pointing again, it doesn't work, number 1 and number 3, and number 5, 7, and 9. In all of these, the character is the subject. But then in all the even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, that character who was the subject in the previous sentence has now become the direct object, right? So we have a word for this in Latin, but I want us to keep looking at it so we can go into the next thing. And just real quickly, what do you think salutat means? This is the verb we saw in all of the even number sentences.
Greet.
Greet.
Exactly, great. Like salutations, right? Or a salute.
Salutations.
Yeah, derivatives are fun. So let's now jump over and read a few more. But I'm going to read these, and I just want you paying attention to the same changes. I'm just going to move it a little bit faster by reading them aloud. So now we have metella. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Coccos est in culina. Metella culinam intrat. Grumio laborat. Metella grumionem spectat. Cibus est paratus. Metella cibum gustat. Grumio est anxious. Metella grumionam laudat. Ah, bene. Amicus est in horto. Metella amicum vocat. All right. So let's before we explicitly discuss what are these changes that we're seeing, let's just find out what's going on in the story. So let me see. Heather, in 11 and 12, who is in the kitchen and then what happens?
Grumio, the cook, is in the kitchen, and Metella comes into the kitchen, enters the kitchen.
Correct. Very good. I was about to say perfect and correct, and I got perfect, which is what I started to say. All right, Clay, what is Grumio doing, and then what is Metella doing?
Grumio is working in the kitchen. Metella comes in and watches him.
Man, I would not like that if I were a slave in his position. She comes in, she just like crosses her arm and stares at him. He's like, oh God. And out of curiosity, what do you think he's cooking?
Peacock.
Well, yeah, he's definitely making a peacock, which, yes, the Romans ate peacock. But
Some type of fish.
He's doing a fish.
and he's got a fish. So he's not just making like sandwiches for the family, right? This is some kind of fancy meal. Why do you think they're having a fancy meal today?
Because their friend is there.
The friend is there.
They are entertaining someone, and so they're kind of doing it up for him real nice, right? So, quibus est paratus, metella quibum gustat. Bart. So after she watches Grumio, at what state is the food?
It's clear that it's prepared.
It's ready.
So the food is, I'm guessing, prepared. I don't know. Paratus.
Yeah, paratus means prepared or ready. It's like ready to go. And so since it's ready, what does Metella do?
Let's see. She's tasting it.
Exactly. Gustat, we get our word disgusting from this. If something is disgusting, it has a bad taste, right? There are other English words that I'm forgetting right now, but yeah, gustat is to taste.
Gustatorial.
Yes. Wow. English with all of its fancies. Gustatory. Who needs that word? I love it, but who needs it? All right. And everybody, how does Grumio feel while she's tasting the food?
Very anxious.
He's anxious. He's worried. He's nervous, right? And then, we can take a big sigh of relief because Metella Grumionem laudat. What does she do to him?
Commends him.
She praises him. Very good. If you laud someone, it is to praise them. If you graduate magna cum laude, it's with great praise.
Great praise.
So that's what she's giving him right here.
He does look relieved, yes.
Yeah, he does look relieved. Even though those brows, man, they just keep going. I feel like every chapter they should creep like lower until he has like a circle. I would love that. Man, I'm going to graffiti my book. I'm gonna do it. All right, so 19, amicus est in horto, and Megan, where is the friend during all this?
The friend is in the garden.
And so then Metella comes out, and what does she do, Megan?
She's speaking to the friend.
And specifically, she's over there in the kitchen. She's actually probably walked over to the dining room, and if this were on a ranch, she'd be ringing a triangle. So we'd probably almost want to use the word call. She calls the friend. She's like, come over here, time for dinner. Dinner's ready, come on in the room, right?
Okay, vocation, calling, okay.
Yeah, so vocat is to call. If you are vocal, you are calling with your voice, right? So let's hop back over here and let's look at the grammatical changes that are happening. So let's see. Aha. Yeah, I think I might have made a mistake earlier. Nope, this is correct. I've done the correct thing. So I'm trying to ask the right question. We're not going to look at 11 and 12 right now. Don't look at 11 and 12. We're looking at 13 and 14. So, Clay.
Could you raise up 13 and 14 a little?
Yes, thank you for directing me to do that. All right, so Clay, in 13 and 14, which word is changing?
Grumio becomes grumionum.
So we know it's not just, we're not just adding like an M to the end of the word, we're actually completely changing the ending because we added 3 letters, N, E, and M to his name, right? Very good. And it's changing because in number 13, he's working, he's doing the action. And in number 14, he's being watched. He's receiving the action, right? It's happening to him. So let's see here. Same thing, 15 and 16, and I'm just going to summarize this so we can get to the story because I want to make sure we have enough time. Kibus is changing to Kibum. Then down here we have Grumio changing to Grumionem, again in 17 and 18. And then down in 19, we have our word amicus, which changes to amicum when Metella calls the friend. All right, so now it's time for our handy-dandy thing that we were writing out earlier. So in Latin, if something is doing the action, that's what we're going to put it right there. And I'm going to write it on mine and then show it to you. We call the subject of the sentence the nominative. Is that backwards? That looks backwards.
No, it's correct.
It's correct for us.
You don't have the mirror image on your...
On mine. I should do that. So it's called the nominative because it literally is what's naming the character or the object. So a nominative is what we call a subject in Latin. Okay. And if you wanted to write the word subject up here, that wouldn't be a problem for me. Okay. And then looking down at the bottom, when you have something receiving the action like a direct object, we call that, I hope that doesn't bleed through onto my book, the accusative. Okay, so the nominative does the action and the accusative receives the action. There are a bunch more of these. We call these things cases. In Latin, this is called a case. I don't need you to know that right now, but I will need you to know that in about 5 chapters. So the nominative does the action and the accusative receives the action. So there are 3 different ways that a nominative and an accusative can form, and it depends on the type of word you're looking at. So let's start with Metella. When she is in the nominative, or Lucia, when she is in the nominative, what is the ending?
A.
An A, just a plain A, a short A. So what I'd like you to write at the top of your first box is just a dash, and that dash is telling you it's an ending, and then a letter A. Okay, so what is the accusative form of that word when it's receiving the action? What is its ending?
M.
Just M?
A-M.
A-M. Very good. So we're going to put A-M for that first accusative ending. It looks something like this. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the dudes in this story. We have Caecilius, we have the amicus, we have Quintus, who happens to be Aphelius. What is the nominative ending for all of these people?
U.S.
U.S.
And what is the accusative ending for these people?
U.M.
U.M. Very good.
This is that grammar part that I remember.
Yes, but notice that I start with 6 boxes only. You don't,
you don't
get
have like
million.
a lie. You don't have a list and just the feminine, masculine. Yeah.
None of that. That comes later. No, this the way this works is every week this chart will get like a little tiny bit bigger. Just we'll add a row to it, but it's very, very gradual, which is really nice. Okay, now we're going to get a little funky. So we run into some other words that don't end with US or A, and they don't end in UM or AM. For example, we had the word canis, and we had the word grumio, and I think we might have had another word. Let me look back. Canis and grumio. Well, that's basically it. So when these words are accusative, what is their ending?
N-E-M.
Mm-hmm.
They can have an N, but not necessarily all the time, and we're going to see that later. So it's just going to be E-M.
E-M.
Just E-M. In the accusative, these words only end in E-M. And now the kind of tricky question, what do the nominatives look like?
No change.
Mhm. It's just their name, yeah.
It's just a random word that you cannot predict. So what do I put in my box? I just put a big old X because I won't be able to predict it and I'm going to have to memorize it every time I see it. So, but what's really nice is when you get to this third category of word, you know that it's going, and it's accusative, it's going to end in "-iam." Even if the nominative's a little tricky, the accusative will end in "-iam."
So would this be, in this case, it's the dog and it's the servant. Is it like a general live thing that we're talking about here, or could it be an object?
It can be anything.
Okay.
So eventually we'll start talking about gender, and a lot of people think that this category, this last category that I put in orange, a lot of people think that's the neuter gender, and it's not. It's not. It's just some words are randomly in category number 1, some words are randomly in category number 2, and some words are randomly in category number 3.
Okay. Is there a title for that third box?
We will learn those
Okay.
next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm intentionally not telling you these titles yet because I just want you looking for these patterns.
Okay.
But do remember that the nominative does the action, the accusative receives it.
Got it.
Cool. So let's then move over. Well, yeah, move over, and we're going to read. We still have about 10 minutes, which means we're moving well. We're going to get through the first story here, which is Mercator. So before I read this to you, I'd like you to just scan the vocabulary on the side so that you're ready for it before we read the story. And if you're coming across a word and you don't know how to pronounce it, just let me know and I'm happy to read it out loud. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you're good on that. And I'm not asking you to memorize it, I'm just asking you to look familiar. Okay, sweet. Great. So we're going to divide this up and you guys are going to read me this story. And since there are 4 of you, you're going to each read about 3 lines. So Megan, if you will read from the beginning to the word numerat in line 3. And then Clay, if you'll pick up with the word caecilius in line 3 and read to the end of line 5. And then Bart, if you'll read from the beginning of line 6 to line 8. And then Heather, would you be okay with the last paragraph?
Sure.
Solid. So go ahead, Megan, and start us off.
Amicus caecilium visitat. Amicus est in mercator.
I'm going to stop you. You added an in. There is no in here.
Est
very confusing.
mercator, yeah. Yeah. Amicus est mercator. Mercator viam intrat. Clemens est in atrio. Clemens mercatorum salutat. Salutat, yes, salutat. Caecilius est in tablino. Caecilius pecuniam numerat.
That was really strong. The only thing is because I'm being, I don't know, I feel like Giada De Laurentiis or someone who's over pronounces all the Italian. I'm going to ask you to really draw out that A in mercator. That mercator. A is, I don't know, every teacher I've ever had has made it like mercator, and it sounds super Italian, and I love it.
More Italian.
Yeah, go more Italian, but not so Italian that you pronounce your C's as chus, because that would be wrong.
Yes.
Okay, Clay, go ahead and pick it up from there.
Caecilius est agentarius.
Your G is going to be hard, not a J, a G.
Agentarius.
Mm-hmm.
Amicus tablinium intrat. Caecilius surgit.
Surgit. Hard.
Surgit.
It's hard. Mm-hmm.
Serve Caecilius mercatorium salutat.
You did sound extremely Italian. Just going to remind you that V is a W. Salve. Salve.
Salve.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it sometime.
The more you practice, the easier it gets. And I think that's where Bart picks up. Go ahead, Bart.
Salve mercator respondet.
Mercator.
Mercator.
You.
Mercator respondet. Caecilius triclinium. I'm sorry. Caecilius triclinium intrat. Amicus quaque intrat.
Good.
Amicus in lecto recumbit. Oh, you like that? Okay.
I was doing
She's acting it out.
Argentarius in lecto recumbent. I like this, Argentarius. Now I understand the Argentina Plaza where in Rome.
Yes, that is. It's related. All right, and Heather, take it away. Last paragraph.
Grumio in culina cantat. Grumio pavonem cocit.
I'm going to stop you. The V is a W.
Pavonem. Pavonem. There we go. Grumio pavonem cocit. Coces et laetus. Caecilius cocum audit.
Mm-hmm.
Caecilius non est laetus.
Mm-hmm.
Caecilius canem expectat. Amicus senem expectat. Caecilius grumionem vituperat.
That was strong. Very good. So the only thing I'm going to kind of get picky on is the C's are always ka. So I heard sanum, and it's going to be canum. And then you did very well. You had kind of the trickiest set of words in here to pronounce. So you should feel really good about how you did. And then sometimes in English, we blend our vowel sounds together. With the word cocuit in English, that would be 2 syllables. Coquit. Right? But in Latin, they're going to actually turn that into 3 syllables. Cocuit.
Cocuit, okay.
And cocuus is 3 syllables.
Cocuus.
Yeah, so the Romans like extra syllables, nothing silent. They're just real brazen that way. So this is the last thing we're reading, and so we're going to go through, and I'm just going to ask you guys some questions about who's doing what. All right, I'm going to reread it and pause. So, amicus caecilium visitat, amicus est mercator. Mercator villam intrat. So a friend is visiting Caecilius. What kind of person is this friend?
Merchant.
A merchant.
A merchant. So if it is it like a buddy relationship, or what else could be going on here?
Business.
He's a business colleague. Right. So Caecilius probably wants this, the house to look good. Yes, they have a friendly relationship, but this is a what's the word when it's beneficial for both sides? Symbiotic? I don't know. This is supposed to work for both.
Symbiotic,
yeah.
All right. So, mercator villam intrat. What does the merchant do first? Villam intrat.
It enters the house.
Yeah, it goes in the house. Clemens est in atrio. Clemens mercatorem salutat. And who greets the merchant in the atrium?
The servant.
Servants get paid.
The
slave Clemens. And this is the first time that we are seeing Clemens not cleaning something. He's actually kind of being more like fancy, I guess, here.
Elevated.
Thank you. He's definitely being elevated here. He is serving as the greeting party. Maybe Metella's doing something else somewhere else. But that's the first time we've seen him be like this. Caecilius est in tablino. Caecilius pecuniam numerat. Caecilius est argentarius. So where is Caecilius and what is he doing?
Counting money.
He's in the study.
Counting money. And why would that be something he does in the study? Because he's a
banker.
And we get our English word argent from this, argent meaning silver. So literally he is the man who counts silver, and that's what a banker does. That's where this word is coming from.
That's why AG is the symbol.
On the periodic table. Yes, it's Latin.
Latin.
Amicus tablinum intrat. Caecilius surget. So after the friend enters the study, what does Caecilius do?
Rises.
Yes, he
Rises,
gets up. And so that is telling you already that Caecilius cares about this other human, right? He's not just some kind of client, some lower class person he's giving money to. He got up to greet this person, so there's obviously some sort of status here. And what do they say to each other?
Hello.
Hello.
And greet each other.
Yes.
Salve.
Salve. Very good. Salve. So Caecilius greets the merchant first. How do I know that Caecilius is the one greeting the merchant? This is grammar.
He's the subject.
In Latin?
And so but he's the nominative, and the way he has that US at the end of his name.
And we know that he is greeting the merchant. The merchant is being greeted because the merchant is what case?
The
Accusative.
And I know that because of what about the word mercatorum?
The
EM.
EM.
The EM ending. Very good. So let's keep going. Caecilius triclinium intrat, amicus quoque intrat. So where does Caecilius lead his friend?
The dining room.
And where'd that be, in the front of the house or the back of the house?
Back.
Back of the house, right? So this guy's made it through into that private area, right?
Moving on through.
Yes. And once they get in there, what do they do? Amicus in lecto recumbit, argentarius in lecto recumbit.
Lay down.
They lay down. And this, we're going to come right back to the story. Don't worry. I just kind of want to show you the layout of a Roman dining room so you can kind of see what they're doing. So we have our thing in the middle, and then we have our 3 couches all the way around. I'm pointing again, all the way around. And so the point is not to necessarily eat a whole lot of food. It's to kind of show yourself off in your best regalia as you're going. Questions so far? No? Okay. Back here. All right. Grumio in collina cantat. Grumio pavonem cocuit. So Grumio is in the kitchen and he's doing 2 things. Clay, what is one of those things? Oh no, we lost Clay.
I think I lost.
I called on him and it was bad luck. No.
He was like, nope.
Not gonna. You can't make me answer that one. So Bart.
He's singing in the kitchen.
He's singing. And then Megan, what's something else he's doing?
He's cooking peacock.
He is cooking peacock. And we actually have, so in Rome, we have these, they cook a peacock kind of like a chicken or a turkey or whatever. And you know how we put the little like fluffy white paper things on the bottom of the chicken feet? I don't even know what those are called. They had these metal peacock heads they would stick in the neck of the peacock. And we have them. There are artifacts of these metal peacock heads that they would put for dinner. And they would save the bird feathers and decorate like the peacock's butt. And so this is a fancy meal. If they're pulling out all the peacock stops and whistles, this is meant to impress, right? So cocculus est laetus. How does the cook feel right here? Happy. Very good. Now remember this sentence, cocculus est laetus. The last thing we're going to do before we end class is come back to it because there's something a little different happening here. And we get our word, there's the English name. It's really like old school, Laetitia. It comes from this word Laetus. So Laetitia, if you see a woman named Laetitia, it means she's like the happy woman. So there you go. It's kind of random. Okay. Caecilius coccum audit. Oh no. What happens with Caecilius here? Who wants to tell me?
He hears the singing and is not happy about it.
Not happy, no. Because if he's got time to sing, he's obviously not working hard enough, right? Maybe. Caecilius non est laetus. Caecilius canam expectat. Why is he not happy? Clay, you with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back? Cool. Do you think you want to answer that one?
Because Caecilius is waiting for something.
Canum. It's the word above expectot in the vocabulary.
Which, okay.
Here.
Dinner. He's waiting for
Yeah.
dinner.
He's waiting for his dinner, right? This guy's singing and he's waiting for dinner. And not only is Caecilius waiting for dinner, who else is waiting for dinner, you guys? Amicus canum expectat.
A friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not looking good in front of his slave right now because his slave seems like he's slacking, right? Caecilius grumionem vituperat. Oh, what does Caecilius go and do?
Curses out his cook.
Yeah, he goes and scolds
Curses.
Grumio. Where is my dinner? You should come get my dinner.
Which
So
is never good to curse out your cook.
it's never good. Does
No,
not
no.
work well.
It will
Yeah.
not end well.
He will spit in your food. Yes. Okay, so that was all we were supposed to cover. Oh, Coculus as litus. Let's go back and take a look at that really, really quickly. So what case, nominative or accusative, is Coculus here?
Nominative.
Uh-huh. What case is litus?
It also looks nominative.
Also looks nominative. And the reason for that is, what is the verb in this sentence?
Is
Est.
Is. So it's kind of acting like an equal sign, right? So when I have a person and an adjective, and I want to say this equals that, so Lindsay equals tired, or Bart equals distracted by dogs, and I see est, that to be verb in the middle, then I'm not going to be using an accusative. I'm going to use the same case as whatever I was talking about. So since here, because Coculus is nominative, and I have that to be verb, I know I need litus to also be nominative to describe Coculus. So when you have a nominative and an adjective, they should be in this, when you have a noun and an adjective, they need to be the same case. So in this case, because Coculus is nominative, litus is also nominative. Any questions about what I just said?
No.
Okay. Sweet. And if you want to be really fun, you could say this is a predicate nominative, but you don't need to because that's kind of pretentious. So, all right. And that is all we had for us today. So your homework is to study stage 2 vocabulary and to read the culture, which I think is only 3 pages this time. So it starts on page 23 right here where it says daily life, and goes to page 25 where it has all these beautiful pictures of food. Don't read this unless you're cooking dinner afterwards because you will get hungry. All right, so that's your homework. Any questions, any thoughts before we end the class?
Nope.
Cool. You guys did a really good job. You read a whole, multiple paragraph story and understood it.
Yay.
On lesson 3.
I know, isn't that impressive? You're so good. And we got to use pretty colors, so that makes me very happy.
Yay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.
On Thursday. Have a good week, y'all.
Bye. Happy
Bye.
Easter.
Bye.